Anthony William, the medical medium. There's been a huge, huge win for the chronically ill. Massive, massive, unprecedented, incredible win for chronic illness, for the chronically ill. And I don't know if you guys have been following, maybe many of you have, but the Maya Kowalski case, where Maya had CRPS, or was diagnosed with CRPS, and the hospital didn't want to recognize it properly. And then Maya's mother was kept from her, and they blamed the mom for Maya's illness. It just reminds me of so much that I've seen over and over again for over 35 plus years now. And it's a tragic story where Maya's mom was so tortured by this hospital and what they did. They blamed her for her child's illness. They weren't recognizing her child's illness. They kept them apart. And the family was tortured in an ungodly way. If you guys look into the story, you'll learn all about it. There's a Netflix documentary on it too. And truly tragic. Maya lost her mother because of what they went through and what the hospital did. I think that when I look at all of this, I truly feel for the family. I feel for Maya, and I feel for her father and her brother. But at the same time, it's like a miracle what just occurred, where Maya won the case. And I've watched for decades people being told they're crazy and they're not sick and they're making it up. And it's Munchausen. And that's another thing too. They diagnosed Munchausen by proxy, which is basically they just blamed Maya's mother. And you can look into it and look at all the details. It's emotional for me because I've seen so many people go through so much for so many years where their illness isn't recognized. It's devastating, truly devastating. And it's driven people to a point that's inconceivable. And I wanted to mention it because I know that so many of you in the medical meme community understand chronic illness. I mean, let's face it, you guys are the experts. Let's just, say it like it is, because you guys are the experts. You're seasoned, you've been through a lot. You know what it's like to rise out of the ashes. And you also know about the mind games, the mind control, the conditioning out there, how the chronically ill have been swept under the carpet. I've talked about this my whole life. I've watched it out there. The thousands upon thousands of people that I've spoke to personally, I can't tell you how many times I've seen the same old play and the same old script out there. This person suffering with body pain, fatigue, different neurological symptoms. And it's just ignored and seen as being made up and seen as being all in the person's head. And so many people have been truly, truly injured emotionally and physically through the process of the conventional system not recognizing people's suffering. And this case, Maya Kowalski's case, is critical for the future of the chronically ill. It's so important. Massive win. I mean, it's that important. I don't know if it'll be recognized as that important. I don't know if it will be recognized truly, but I'm praying it will be recognized and seen, and seen and seen. Because I know that what happens is if you're not sick and you don't know what it's like, and you don't know what it's like to be bedridden, and you don't know what it's like to have neurological symptoms where you can't walk, you could barely talk, you could barely function, you can't take a shower, you could barely live your life. And even if it's not even that bad, and that's a massive struggle right there, even if it's just mild versions of it, regardless, if someone isn't sick and they haven't been through it and they don't know what it's like, they're not going to understand it, and they're just going to, it's easy to blame the person for everything. And see, what happened with Maya is this was years ago. She fell ill when she was young, when she was just a kid. And it was just a mystery. And it still is a mystery. CRPS is still a mystery. It's like stiff person syndrome. These are mystery conditions, neurological mystery conditions to medical research and science. But it was like the dark ages just 6, 7, 8 years ago. Back 2013, 14, 15, 2016, the dark ages. Still, I remember when Medical Medium, the first book came out. And when the first book came out, it was like, what? There's a reason for why people are sick with neurological problems? You mean that there's answers? Viral inflammation and low-grade viral infections, all medical medium information, right? You guys know, you know the books, you know Medical Medium Book 1. Low-grade viral infections and toxic heavy metals, creating a substantially large amount of chronic illness and autoimmune. And then it gets, you can get any kind of diagnosis depending on who you go to. But either way, it was the dark ages back then, and long before that. I remember helping people out in the 90s, then helping people out even before then, and helping people out in the early 2000s, and getting information and answers out there. It was the dark ages with chronic illness, and people who had chronic illness suffered, and untold damages. From the Lyme disease saga, from mistreatments and abuse, the system abusing people with chronic illness. I mean, it was just dastardly. It was awful. And yeah, it's improving, but even with it being improved and improving like it has, this is what the world needed. It needed a case like this. It needed a victory like this for the chronically ill. It needed Maya's victory because she was so wronged. Her family was so wronged. And how do you battle a system? And how do you battle a system at all when you're wrong that bad and been hurt that bad by a system that doesn't care and give a crap about the person who has chronic illness? How do you win that? How do you beat that? You don't. But guess what? She did. She did. And that's what's mind-blowing. Because there's a lot of people out there that have gone through similar situations. as Maya Kowalski. Similar situations with their chronic illness, and the losses were so great. So great, the losses, that it was never, ever justified. And there wasn't a win, and there was no way to fight it. And this family fought and fought and fought, and Maya fought and fought and fought. If you watch the documentary, your mind will just be blown. And you guys know chronic illness. You guys know what it's like to be misunderstood. And many of you guys, you got a few years on you. You've been around the block. You know what it's like. You know what it was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You know what it was like 10 years ago, even now today. And yes, people are talking about the chronically ill more and chronic illness more. But still, we're so far from getting people the help they need and the understanding. And the MM Info offers what's going on and why we're sick and everything, but the system's still busted, both alternative medicine and conventional medicine. The system is still broken. That's why what happened here with Maya is so groundbreaking, so unbelievable. Things like this just don't happen. They just don't happen in the world. They just don't. And she won that case. The family won the case. God bless them. Can't imagine, truly can't imagine what they've gone through. I could only try. And CRPS, inflammation of the brain, mysterious condition. Medical research and science has no idea what the cause is and so forth. Medical medium standards, medical medium science, it's viruses, viral inflammation, it's toxic heavy metals. But she won, and it's a massive win for the chronically ill. Milestone right here, a landmark case, a landmark milestone for the chronic illness world. Medical research and science just thinks that CRPS is just a nerve dysfunction, or it's just inflammation, so it's like a mysterious nerve dysfunction. That's the best they can actually crack up to be. But truly, it's a brain inflammation. And yes, nerve inflammation. And I've talked about all the different autoimmune conditions, all the different neurological symptoms and conditions, and how all the different viruses and the toxic heavy metals play a role. Anyway, I know you guys have been through a lot yourselves. Many of you, you know what it's like. You know what I'm talking about. Like, you totally understand. And when you see her documentary, you'll just be blown away. It's a gut wrencher though, and it tugs the heart and it hits you hard. So I'm just preparing you. If you're very, very sensitive, then you might want to just, hold off for a while until maybe you feel a little stronger, because it's a tough one to watch, because it just is gut wrenching and heartbreaking. Truly heartbreaking. But a miracle has happened. And I believe, and I truly believe, and so does SOC, that this is going to help change things on this planet with chronic illness and the abuse that the chronically ill have suffered and still suffer every day, actually, because we're still not there yet. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't looked into it, and seeing what's happening out there. But it's really a blessing, and the family worked really hard and fought and fought and fought. And God was on their side. And they defeated the system. Anyway, many blessings. Love you guys much. Talk soon.
Beata Kowalski, an uncontrollable impulse to die by suicide. Yes. 38. Was the conduct that you found in question 36 of substantial factor in Beata Kowalski's death by suicide? Yes. Question 39 addresses